He's going to move a wee bit.
You're under arrest. You're under arrest. Stop resisting.
I just want to tell you guys this. The best times 10 Conor McGregor you've ever seen right now. Better than he was when he was in his prime. The most focused, wants to do everything right. I mean, he's training his ass off each and every day. He's eating right. He's going to church. He's doing everything he's supposed to do. This is not a Conor McGregor that we've seen in the past couple of years. This is the best Conor McGregor that I've personally ever seen. And I'm talking on TV and everywhere. I've never seen a Conor McGregor like this, more focused than I ever thought he ever could get, but he is.
What's the David Feldman confidence meter at on us seeing him fight at the White House this summer?
Conor had said publicly, you know, that his contract was a little shaky because of the pay-per-view point that he had in there, but I'm sure that the UFC wants Conor McGregor to fight. He's going to fight, and they're going to make it work, and it makes sense for him to fight the White House. So my confidence level is probably around a 99%.
We're getting into this with the game here. All right.
And my strong rockets. These are missiles, yeah. These are fucking missiles. I'm 100%. This is, yeah? We're going in here 100%. I'm going into this fight 100% Conor McGregor. Not 92. 100% Conor McGregor. So it has to be really meticulous. We were right there with the last one. As a unit, we do it, right?
On Sarukian, is he the hottest guy right now? I don't see anybody controlling the media as well as Sarukian. Sarukian's getting more headlines and doing more clicks on social media than Ilia Topuria, just by...
McGregor's career is about to explode, and I'm not talking about some comeback story or feel-good narrative. I'm talking about a complete transformation that's happening right under everyone's noses while they're all focused on the wrong things. Because while you're watching his Instagram posts and debating whether he's washed up, Conor McGregor is engineering something that goes way deeper than just another fight. This isn't about chasing headlines or generating buzz for a payday. This is about a man who's staring into the abyss of his own legacy and making a choice that will either cement him as the greatest combat sports athlete of all time or destroy everything he's built.
It looks fun. It looks really fun. But Sarukian has now made headlines. Sarukian works with Coach Cal. That's a piece of this story because Sarukian came out yesterday and said, I'm the #1 contender. I am to fight for a belt. But if there's a logjam at 155, fine, I'll just go to 45 and fight for the belt. And I don't know how much he meant it, but these things are interesting. Once they're said...
Here's what nobody's talking about. McGregor isn't just preparing for Masvidal. He's preparing for war against his own demons, his own doubts, and every single person who's written him off. You think this White House event is just some publicity stunt? You're missing the point entirely. This is psychological warfare at the highest level. Every public appearance, every calculated move, every word he speaks is designed to get inside Masvidal's head months before they even step into that octagon. And here's the kicker, it's already working. Sources close to Masvidal's camp are saying the pressure is unlike anything they've seen. Because when McGregor commits to destroying someone, it's not just about the fight. It's about consuming every aspect of their preparation, making them think about him during every training session, every meal, every moment they close their eyes.
One of the reasons I think he is serious is because he then justified it, and he was talking about Coach Cal. All he said, though, is, my coach, we did the math, we can do it. And Coach Cal is a calculus genius, and he breaks everything down, and calories in, calories out, and monitors your workouts. I'm just sharing for you that. What do you think of that? I mean, this kind of went wild online. My own phone was getting text messages. Like, James, I was on an airplane and James Madison has let me. I was like, did you see this about Sarukian? And, you know, I stopped what I was doing and I go, read it.
But let's get real about what's actually happening behind the scenes. The McGregor you see posting workout videos and talking trash, that's not the real story. The real story is what's happening in those private training sessions at 4 in the morning when nobody's watching. His team has brought in scientists, nutritionists, and combat specialists who are literally re-engineering his entire approach to fighting. They're not just getting him in shape. They're building a weapon specifically designed to dismantle McGregor Masvidal. Every calorie is calculated, every movement is analyzed, every second of recovery is optimized. This isn't preparation. This is human performance taken to an almost obsessive level that most fighters can't even comprehend.
A different weight class and I'm going to fight for a title. Okay, great. Can you get a headline? Is that something that people believe and that people are interested in? Check and check. He had those boxes. A next step, but it's a much higher step, is to get the guy with the belt or the guy with the opportunity to respond. He already got Lopez. I imagine we're going to hear from Volkanovski anytime now. What do you guys think about it?
And here's where it gets absolutely wild. McGregor isn't just training his body, he's rewiring his entire mental framework. You know what separates champions from pretenders? Champions don't hope to win. They know they're going to win because they've already won the fight 1,000 times in their head. While Masvidal is out there talking about street fights and keeping it real, McGregor is visualizing every possible scenario, every angle of attack, every way this fight could unfold. He's not just seeing Masvidal's face during training. He's studying his breathing patterns, his tells, his weaknesses, the way he moves when he's tired. This is chess at the highest level, and most people are still playing checkers.
Fun that he's got all this different potential parity. But that doesn't answer the question on what you think about that, because in many ways, does it solve a problem? Sure it does. We acknowledge in this sport, Arman is the #1 contender. We acknowledge in this sport that Arman should be fighting for a world title. So how are we going to do it? I'll just move down to 145. Well, but we also acknowledge that Lerone Murphy should be fighting for a title. We acknowledge that.
Now listen to this part because it changes everything. This isn't about the belt anymore. Forget the championship. McGregor has transcended that. He's hunting something much more valuable. He's hunting legacy. He's hunting the respect of every doubter who said he was done. He's hunting the acknowledgement that when he's focused, when he's locked in, there's nobody on this planet who can match his combination of skill, intelligence, and pure savage will. The belt is just a bonus. What he's really after is proving that all those losses, all that time away, all those distractions were just him operating at 50%. And now he's operating at full capacity for the first time in years.
3 potential options. I'm just wondering, like, what do you think about that? Do you believe that a bigger guy in Arman, do you believe if he cuts down, he therefore takes precedent? Do you believe that? Because when Ilia Topuria, who wasn't just the #1 guy, he was the champion of the world, moved to 55, there was a little bit of pushback by you, the community. There's a little bit of pushback that just said, hey, listen, you haven't proved yourself here yet. Khabib himself said, we're not going to fight him. You're speaking for Islam. This is before Islam had left the way. He said, we're not going to fight.
But wait, it gets even crazier. The timing of this White House event isn't random. It's not coincidence. McGregor's team has orchestrated this entire sequence to maximize psychological pressure on Masvidal while simultaneously rebuilding McGregor's image as not just a fighter, but as a global icon. Think about it. While other fighters are begging for opportunities, McGregor is creating opportunities. He's not asking for fights, he's making fights feel inevitable. He's dragging Masvidal into his world, into his narrative, and forcing everyone to play by his rules. That's not just fight IQ. That's genius-level manipulation of the entire combat sports landscape.
What do you think? We're putting everything in reverse. Like yesterday when Arman said it, this got a great reception. Everybody loved it. Ariel loved it. I loved it. James Madison loved it. I mean, I'm just sharing. But now that we've had a day and we've thought about it, do you still love it? And I think Arman is going to be just fine. I mean, I think that the final conclusion, he's going to be just fine. stay at 155. The opportunity's coming. I think that that's where we're at. But he's now created another dialogue. So the way this works is we've got to exhaust all options.
Here's something that'll blow your mind. McGregor's coaches have been studying tape not just of Masvidal's recent fights, but going back to his backyard brawling days. They're analyzing street fight footage, looking for patterns that Masvidal doesn't even know he has. Because here's the thing about street fighters, they develop habits that work on the streets but become predictable in a controlled environment. McGregor's team has identified at least 7 unconscious reactions that Masvidal defaults to under pressure. 7 openings that they're specifically training to exploit. This isn't just preparation. This is warfare conducted with scientific precision.
Like, he's getting headlines, he's doing a great job, he's in front of the media. But, and there is a but, I've never liked the idea of, I want to fight for a championship. I've never liked that approach more than a specific guy. Than a specific, put your finger in the chest of Ilia Topuria. Oh, by the way, he happens to be champion. It happens to also be a championship opportunity. Boy, I hadn't even really thought of that.
And get this, the real genius move isn't what McGregor's doing publicly. It's what he's not doing. He's not engaging in the typical back-and-forth trash talk. He's not getting pulled into social media beef. He's staying above the noise while quietly building an aura of inevitability around this fight. Every public appearance reinforces the same message. This isn't a question of if he'll destroy Masvidal, it's a question of how devastating it's going to be. That psychological pressure is already eating away at Masvidal's confidence, and the fight hasn't even been officially announced yet.
I just want to fight him. I find that personal grudge approach to be stronger, but Arman's in a unique spot. And one of the things about the way that Arman is playing this is to make sure that he lets everyone know he doesn't care. That if you're trying to hold him down or you're trying to punish him for whatever it might be, he doesn't care. So, I like it. I think that this is wise. But 145.
Hold up, did you catch what just happened? While everyone's debating whether McGregor still has it, he's already won half the battle. Masvidal is now defined in relation to McGregor. Every interview Masvidal does, every training video he posts, every public appearance he makes is now viewed through the lens of how he'll match up against Conor. That's the power of true star magnetism. McGregor doesn't chase relevance, he creates it, and then everyone else gets pulled into his orbit whether they want to or not. But here's the brutal truth that nobody wants to acknowledge. This version of McGregor is more dangerous than the one who knocked out Jose Aldo in 13 seconds. That McGregor was running on pure instinct and natural talent. This McGregor is combining that same killer instinct with years of hard-earned experience, scientific preparation, and something even more terrifying. The desperation of a man who knows this might be his last chance to prove he's still the king. Desperate McGregor isn't just dangerous, he's absolutely lethal. Now here's where the story gets really interesting. The UFC brass knows what's coming. They know that a motivated, focused McGregor versus a dangerous striker like Masvidal isn't just a fight. It's a cultural event that transcends sports. The pay-per-view numbers alone would be astronomical. But more than that, it's the kind of fight that creates new fans, that brings casual viewers back to the sport, that generates months of content and analysis. Dana White isn't just booking a fight. He's orchestrating a moment that will be talked about for decades. Listen to this part carefully because it reveals everything about McGregor's mindset right now. He's not training to win a fight. He's training to create a masterpiece. Every combination he throws, every takedown defense he practices, every movement he perfects is designed not just to defeat Masvidal, but to do it in a way that's so spectacular, so definitive, that it erases any doubt about his place in combat sports history. This isn't about proving he's still good. This is about proving he's operating on a completely different level than everyone else. And here's the kicker that changes everything. McGregor's team has been analyzing not just Masvidal's fighting style, but his psychological profile. They know he's a pride fighter, someone who can't back down from a challenge even when it's strategically smart to do so. They're going to use that against him. They're going to create situations where Masvidal's own toughness becomes a liability, where his refusal to give ground leads him directly into traps that McGregor has been setting for months. This is next-level psychological warfare disguised as a fist fight. But let me tell you what's really going to happen when that octagon door closes. All the analysis, all the preparation, all the mind games come down to one simple truth: who wants it more? And right now, McGregor wants it more than he's wanted anything in years. He's not fighting for money. He's not fighting for fame. He's fighting for his soul, for his legacy, for the right to call himself the greatest of all time. That kind of motivation doesn't just win fights, it creates legends. So there you have it. This isn't just another comeback story or another big money fight. This is McGregor's final evolution, his transformation from a talented striker into a complete combat scientist who's weaponized every aspect of preparation, psychology, and performance. Masvidal's tough, he's dangerous, and he's never been knocked out. But he's never faced a version of McGregor that's this focused, this prepared, and this desperate to prove he's still the king. The question isn't whether McGregor can win, it's whether Masvidal can survive the storm that's coming for him. What do you think? Is this the fight that puts McGregor back on top? Or is Masvidal the reality check that ends the McGregor era once and for all? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button if this breakdown opened your eyes to what's really happening. And subscribe, because when this fight gets announced, you're going to want to be here for every single detail of the build-up. This is just the beginning, and it's about to get absolutely insane. But wait, there's something even more explosive happening that nobody's connecting the dots on yet. While everyone's focused on the Masvidal matchup, McGregor's been quietly building relationships with power players way beyond the UFC. We're talking about connections that could reshape the entire combat sports landscape. Remember when he fought Floyd? That wasn't just a one-off spectacle. That was McGregor proving he could operate in any combat arena and generate unprecedented numbers. Now imagine what happens when those same business relationships start opening doors that nobody saw coming. Here's what's really cooking behind the scenes. McGregor's management team has been in talks with promoters across multiple combat sports. Boxing, bare knuckle, even discussions about custom rule sets that would favor his particular skill set. This isn't about chasing easy money fights. This is about creating an entirely new category of super fights that exist outside traditional organizational boundaries. While other fighters are locked into single promotional contracts, McGregor is positioning himself as a free agent who can create his own market. That's not just smart business. That's revolutionary thinking that could change how elite fighters negotiate their careers. And here's where it gets absolutely mind-blowing. The White House connection isn't just about publicity or political photo ops. It's about McGregor understanding something that most athletes never figure out: true power comes from building bridges into worlds that have nothing to do with fighting. When you can command attention from presidents, business moguls, and entertainment industry titans, you're not just a fighter anymore. You're a cultural force that can influence markets, shape narratives, and create opportunities that don't exist for anyone else in combat sports. That level of crossover appeal is what separates icons from athletes. But let's talk about what this means for his actual fighting career, because that's where the rubber meets the road. All the business savvy in the world doesn't matter if you can't perform when the lights are brightest. And here's what McGregor's inner circle knows: that the public doesn't. His body is responding to training in ways that are shocking even his most experienced coaches. The layoffs, the injuries, the time away from competition that everyone assumed made him weaker. They actually allowed his body to fully recover from years of accumulated damage. At 35, he's moving with a fluidity and power that's reminiscent of his absolute prime, but now enhanced by wisdom and experience that only comes from surviving wars with the best fighters on the planet. Now here's something that'll make your head spin. McGregor's nutritionist revealed in a private interview that his current body composition is the best it's been since 2016. But it's not just about being in shape, it's about being in the exact right shape for what's coming. They've analyzed Masvidal's knockout power, his preferred striking range, his cardio patterns, and they've literally sculpted McGregor's physique to optimize performance against those specific threats. This isn't generic fight preparation. This is customized human engineering designed to exploit every possible advantage against one specific opponent. The level of detail is almost obsessive, and that obsession is what separates champions from everyone else. Here's what's really wild about McGregor's current mindset. He's not just preparing to beat Masvidal, he's preparing to make a statement that transcends the fight itself. Every training session is filmed, every workout is documented, every aspect of his preparation is being captured for what his team believes will be the greatest comeback documentary in sports history. They're not just building a fighter, they're crafting a narrative that will be studied by athletes across all sports for decades. This isn't just about winning a fight. This is about creating a masterclass in how to resurrect a career and reclaim greatness when everyone thinks you're finished. But check this out. The psychological warfare isn't just targeting Masvidal, it's targeting the entire welterweight division. Every top contender is watching this build-up, and they're all asking themselves the same question. If McGregor can do this to Masvidal, what could he do to me? That fear, that uncertainty, that's already reshaping the division before a single punch has been thrown. Fighters who were calling him out 6 months ago are suddenly staying quiet. That's the power of true intimidation. It doesn't just affect your current opponent, it affects everyone who might be your future opponent. And here's something that's absolutely brilliant about McGregor's strategy. He's not trying to convince anyone he's still great. He's acting like someone who never stopped being great and is confused why anyone would think otherwise. That unshakable confidence, that refusal to acknowledge that he's supposed to be diminished, it's getting inside people's heads in ways that traditional trash talk never could. He's not defending his legacy, he's behaving like someone who's still actively building it. That psychological positioning is more powerful than any pre-fight speech or social media post. Listen to this part because it reveals everything about what's coming. McGregor's sparring partners have been specifically chosen not because they mimic Masvidal's style, but because they represent different aspects of what makes Masvidal dangerous. One partner brings the boxing fundamentals, another brings the street fighting unpredictability, another brings the knockout power. They're not just preparing for one fighter, they're preparing for every possible version of that fighter depending on what strategy he brings to the octagon. This level of preparation is what separates good fighters from great ones and great fighters from legends. But here's what's really going to shock people when this fight happens. McGregor isn't planning to outbox Masvidal or outgrapple him. He's planning to outthink him in real time, to make adjustments faster than Masvidal can adapt, to stay 3 moves ahead throughout the entire fight. All those years of facing different styles, all those experiences in different combat sports, all that time studying film and understanding angles and timing, it's all coming together into a fighting IQ that's unprecedented in the sport. This isn't just athletic ability anymore. This is combat intelligence refined to an art form. Now here's where things get really interesting from a business perspective. The UFC knows that a McGregor victory doesn't just mean one successful pay-per-view. It means potentially 3 or 4 more massive events as he works his way through the top of the division. But more than that, it means international expansion opportunities. It means crossover appeal that brings new demographics to the sport. It means the kind of mainstream attention that elevates everyone in the organization. Dana White isn't just investing in one fight. He's investing in the possibility of another McGregor era that could define the next phase of the UFC's global growth. And get this, McGregor's been studying not just fighting footage, but business footage. He's been analyzing how other athletes have successfully reinvented themselves, how they've managed comebacks, how they've maintained relevance across different phases of their careers. He's applying lessons from Michael Jordan's baseball retirement, Tom Brady's late career success, even examples from entertainment and business about how to rebuild a brand that everyone assumed was in decline. This isn't just athletic preparation. This is comprehensive life strategy being applied to combat sports. Here's something that's going to blow your mind about the mental preparation. McGregor's been working with visualization specialists who have helped him mentally rehearse not just winning the fight, but handling every possible scenario during the fight. They've practiced how he'll respond if he gets hurt early, if the fight goes to the ground, if Masvidal comes out more aggressive than expected, if the crowd is hostile, if technical difficulties delay the start. They've literally prepared his mind for variables that most fighters never even consider. When unexpected things happen during the fight, his brain will already have a response ready because it's been rehearsed hundreds of times. But let's talk about what happens after he wins, because that's where this story gets really explosive. A victory over Masvidal doesn't just put McGregor back in title contention. It positions him as the biggest draw in the sport's most talent-rich division. Suddenly fights with Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards, Colby Covington, or even a rematch with Nate Diaz all become massive pay-per-view events. We're not talking about one comeback fight. We're talking about the potential for an entire comeback tour that could generate more revenue than any run in UFC history. The financial implications aren't just significant, they're industry-changing. And here's the final piece that makes this whole puzzle absolutely insane. McGregor knows that this might be his last chance to prove he belongs in conversations about the greatest combat athletes of all time. Not just MMA fighters, combat athletes, period. Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson, Fedor Emelianenko, Anderson Silva. That's the company he wants to keep, and he knows that another spectacular performance against a dangerous opponent like Masvidal is what separates him from everyone else who was just really good for a while. This isn't about money or fame anymore. This is about immortality in combat sports history. So when you're watching this fight unfold, remember what you're really seeing. You're not just watching two fighters compete, you're watching one man's attempt to rewrite the rules of what's possible in combat sports. You're watching someone refuse to accept that their best days are behind them. You're watching the culmination of the most comprehensive comeback preparation in fighting history. Masvidal is tough, he's experienced, and he's never been finished. But he's about to face a version of Conor McGregor that's more focused, more prepared, and more desperate to prove greatness than any version we've seen before. The question isn't just who wins, it's whether we're about to witness one of the greatest performances in combat sports history. What's your prediction? Are you buying into the McGregor resurrection, or do you think Masvidal's the reality check that ends this story once and for all? Let me know in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed because when this fight gets officially announced, the build-up is going to be absolutely legendary.